Hello, we're at Triple D Ranch and Farm, and this video is to tell you about a nice lady and friend who loves animals who adopted a couple of horses. We actually call it a kind of a rescue, and we're hoping this is going to be helpful to people who are participating in Life Leaders Ranch nonprofit programs or in your own homes or schools as well. This is Karen Stone.
Hey.
And you want to tell them the names of your horses real quick?
This one here, this is Spirit.
And the dark one?
This one over here, Miss Storm. Everybody meets Storm. She has a lightning bolt on the end of her nose.
Well, here's the story as I understand it. Karen's been telling me about some horses that she was having some despair and heart sadness about, that she was seeing them in a field that were neglected. And so she gives me a call on Friday about wanting to rescue two horses, and she'd gotten permission from the folks who had legal ownership of them. These horses were out in a pasture with, as far as we could tell, no grass. There was water, but it looked like dried straw. So had not been handled. This one apparently was trapped about 6 months ago, and they forced a halter on her, but had really not been handled since then. So we got a horse trailer and brought them over here on Saturday, and it was been both a lot of rodeo at first, wasn't it, Karen?
Oh my gosh.
And them being scared and trying to rear up and get away, but we were able to soothe them, and as you can probably see, they're eating out of our hands now. This is since last weekend.
Yeah.
In a few days, so they're doing that, and we get them on a rope, and I've been doing some training with them, learning how to lead, and you can see they're starting to like humans again. Karen, I guess I want to ask you two questions. What was your motivation for wanting to adopt these horses, and then then you could tell us about why you. Well, that probably is good. Why did you want to adopt these horses when you don't have any, by the way? And
I've never owned horses before.
Okay, so why now?
As a child, there was horses down the street, and I loved them. I fell in love.
Yeah.
And these are my favorite animals. I've always wanted them, never could have them. So I saw these down the road that were being neglected and abused, and I couldn't stand it. It was breaking my heart. Every time I went by, I cried. And I cried. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And I couldn't take it.
So as I gather, you wrote a letter and put it on the door of the people who had them. Is that right?
Yes.
And a couple of weeks later, they finally responded, and we were able, with the help of one of the neighbors who Karen knew, and the neighbor to this adjoining property provided their space for us to put Spirit into what we'll call it the locals call a catch pen, where we could put her in there and handle her a little bit with the rope. And then the next day, Storm found her wanted to get over there, so she was fairly easy. But these horses were so eager. Instinctively they were afraid, but they were eager to come home because they got on the horse trailer beautifully, considering that it can be very, very tough to get them to get on a tin box and that confining. But they came over here, and we got them to the farm and spent a couple hours with them, gentling them and training them. It's been pretty well so far, hasn't it, Karen?
Yes. They've never been touched to my knowledge, and they were not being fed. They didn't know what love was. That's the sad part. But
well, they do now. You can tell how she's handling them. By the way, these guys came over, and we've in the front yard now. There's a 800-pound round bale of hay, and they went up, and they weren't sure what it was. We put them sparingly in here because there's a limited amount of green grass. So if you're new horse people, you don't want to put a horse that's underweight and underfed on too much grass at one time, because it can make them sick. But subsequently, we think this is the first time they've had a healthy source of grass or hay, but they've also learned the taste of an apple and a carrot, and they've really been going crazy about this salt lick. I mean, they'd never had one before, obviously, because they were over at it multiple times a day, because they apparently had that as a deficiency in their bodies. But they're doing very well. We've got them here, and with Karen's husband, who's a carpenter, as of last night, we got a good start, and by this weekend, we'll have a smaller training corral for them so we can put them in there, and we'll go through a process called join up, where the horses will be led in a very positive, natural horsemanship way to make the choice that they want to be in our herd. They want to be with us and to be trained in a positive way. We're not using any kind of pain at all, just love them and lead them type of horse leadership. And you see that Karen is being very gentle with them and has learned how to get them to eat out of her hand and out of the bowl, and so they're on their way. We're going to post this to our video channel and our Facebook blogs that we have on Triple D Ranch and Farm, and so if you want to follow, we would love for you to learn more about it. We're hoping this is going to be a positive human interest story about Karen and these horses, but also some basics about how to get a horse that has to be rescued, and to try to get them to be secure and trusting, and then to start training. Karen, got any other closing words?
If you see an animal that you think's being abused or neglected, follow up on it.
Do something yourself, or notify the authorities or somebody who is an animal lover who will know what to do. Please just don't ignore it. There are over a million people, horses or animals in this country, that get abused or killed every year, and they all deserve a good, loving home. So either do it yourself or find somebody else who maybe can help them. And I'll assure you there's some benefits that go with it as well. Not only having a great, beautiful animal, you can wake up and see a postcard in your life. If you work with them, there's great exercise. So you don't need to go to the gym. You can shovel for them, you can feed them, you can wrestle around 800 pounds of hay, and you'll get some exercise that way. And if you start to ride, as what happened yesterday, spontaneous ride that came up, you'll have good core strength, and your stomach muscles will be developed naturally without having to go to a gym. These are two beautiful horses. They've joined others, and we hope that this has touched your heart a little bit, or maybe inspired you to want to get your own animal, your own horse, or support somebody who does. We appreciate it very much. We hope to be able to continue telling you the story about Spirit and Storm and Karen.